Hello, 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 folks. Welcome back to Holding Space, Melinda Zapone, if you're on Substack, and welcome back to Enya. Everyone needs you always if you're on Spotify or YouTube. I'm pumping out the content today, guys, because I just got so, inspired by coming to, not really a completion point. Um, Actually, I guess more like of a launching point for You Are Not Broken University, although it's been in my mind, body, and soul for such a long time. We got to a really cool point earlier in the week where it was ready to launch into all of your awarenesses. And so my creativity started flowing, and we're ready for another episode. This one is titled, Do You Think Your Way Through Life? Maybe You Shouldn't. I said it to one client. The rest of the week, they all started to get it. My mind is lying to me. This is about how an accidental comment from a normally very deliberate therapist, myself, became a viral success. How truth seeking through the interpretations of your mind is the biggest reason to go to therapy. And I just want to make a little note here that Substack is reader supported publication. If you can head over there for only $5.99 a month, just for a little while, we would really appreciate your support. I want to keep all of this affordable through live events, podcasts, courses, programs, and more. And that really helps. And you can, find the links to You Are Not Broken University, which is a little bit of a different investment. But still, again, I'm just trying to make this um, affordable and accessible. Let's get into this. So you are going to find this familiar. I'm going to start off talking about narrative healing. If you know this space, you know I've been writing about the phases of healing from my introductory book, You Are Not Broken, Break Free from the Fixing Yourself Mindset with the Toolbox Approach for 3 years. And it's been going on even longer than that. And I've been honest about how it got developed. I stumbled upon the approach at a whirlwind time in my own life, and it only got more and more organized over the 3 years due to my professional background as a trauma therapist. I have a really interesting relationship with stumbling. At 45 years old, I could say my stumbles started before I could actually walk. As I got older, many of them were messy eye openers, the kind with a lot of loss that only shows up as a broken narrative for a long time. However, that is how I fell into labeling one phase of healing narrative healing. My falls, I thought, made me broken, and the best I could do was to be a therapist with a heart of gold who gets it. Tell me you're broken and let's see it together. That's my purpose. It's okay. I don't need more loss. I can build a life on this. This is not what I felt. This is what I thought. I'm not really sure what I was feeling for almost 20 years. Resistance, empathy for other people, dissociation, tension, tired, a fawning response, hypervigilant. And yeah, I was thinking, it's fine. I'm helping people. It was a shock when a slow burn kind of loss, the kind that takes 2 years to complete itself, revealed to me how broken that narrative was. And there were other broken narratives that rose up behind it once I faced this. Like Russian dolls, I would open one and explore it only to find there was a twist where it was opening up another me with another narrative to explore and heal. In this process, I stumbled around until I realized it was a necessary phase of healing I could call narrative healing. So it is only fitting that this week, 6 years after my healing journey feels like it formally began, using this approach in thousands of sessions, I stumbled into another truth when in session with a therapy goer in my caseload. Do you think your way through life? Maybe you shouldn't. You can't think your feelings. It's an illusion. Now, sometimes this happens. I'm listening so intently that I somewhat drop that typical therapist thing where they all ask a question to get you to notice something, and I get real and direct. When I do this, I've noticed I'm also talking to myself, and I'm even more effective. My therapy goer and I unpacked thinking as a form of suppression, like a thermostat that kicks in to keep the temperature at a certain level because raw emotion is either too hot or too cold. Or even like a Goldilocks, deciding there is a strange strategy involved, tasting all the bowls of porridge for just the right one. It's no problem. There are no bears here. I just need to eat something. I was channeling a philosopher, a psychologist with a theory when I told her it seemed to me we evolved too fast for the complexity of feelings we now have on the modern feelings wheel. And I give you a link, you can take a look. There are like 80 feelings. I told her this felt information still comes in the same old fashioned way through the nervous system, but now it's complex. And we have figured out that there's a quick hack called storytelling or cognitive interpretation that escapes the complexity and makes us feel more in control. What is needed is trust in our own capacity to adapt the body brain connection to process the input without the mind, and then only use the mind secondarily to make decisions or reflect, not to pretend thinking feelings is real guidance. This first rendition of the theory caused my therapy goer to look at me with, oh my goodness, on her face. They told me they wanted to stop doing this thinking feelings immediately, that it wasn't real, and they couldn't believe they wasted so much time doing it. Then they said, "I think I feel stupid." And we laughed because you can't think your feelings. However, this got serious after the laughing, and I told them with certainty, I know what we do with this. Or I know, like, what do we do with this? They nodded. That is what they were thinking. But what are you feeling is what I asked next. And then guided them to listen to their body instead of telling a story. So for this my mind is lying thing, all week, the same thing started to repeat. My mind is lying to me was the realization. Then the questioning glance regarding what could be done. First off, the mind is lovingly lying. It is being protective of two things. Too much for me to handle at once, and what if I can't survive this feeling? Really, because feeling complexly evolved fast and things need to be simpler, the mind decided there would be two roles inside of it: managers and firefighters. Managers would say, I will manage this complexity so it's not what it is. And firefighters would say, I will put out the feelings fire automatically without much thinking. We know this happens. It happens in families all the time. Parents lie a little bit to protect their children. They say, we can use a flashlight to see the monsters. Or without thinking, they might say, only wimps are scared of the dark. So if it happens in external family life, it can happen in the internal family system of our mind. Families don't intend to get dysfunctional or dysregulated, stressed or reactive, and our minds don't mean to do this either. Regardless, a lot of the things that are said are broken. They are not really real story and they mean well, but we've got to get some more tools. That is where the toolbox approach and the phases of healing come in. So, what's the actual feeling? Let's go do some reprocessing 101. When you find yourself thinking through your feelings, let's say, I think I have to wait until I have more money saved before I start a different career path, or I don't think I'm ready for dating because I only got divorced last year and finally feel like myself again, or I think I can purchase a new phone because I need to pick me up and I work hard. Notice it. Then recognize that the feeling is in your sacral place. This space is the base of your spine and forms the back wall of your pelvis. It is also a muscle and nerve bundle, often called the psoas nerve. The statements above need cognitive and somatic reprocessing. Cognitively, we have to roll back that videotape to see activating event plus activating thought equals thinking through feelings. Prior to the first bullet, for example, this person had several work colleagues get laid off and learned things in their industry are unstable. Then they thought about networking and going back to school, and then thought, I have to wait until I have more money before I go back to school. They felt uncertain, but tried to reverse this feeling by being certain it is not the right time to change careers. This is not the truth, it's just what their mind did, and now we see it in reprocessing. Somatically, reprocessing is also clarifying. The information from the layoffs came into the sacral and the pelvis curled upwards, and the muscles in the hips and groin tensed and held, braced against relaxing as if holding on or absorbing a blow. The body is asking, was that a blow to my safety? I think I need to stay clenched and not make any big changes or moves right now. Breathing into this space and relaxing the hips by lying on a yoga mat and letting the floor push back on the wall of the pelvis, even rolling back and forth might provide a different truth in this case. The body then may register, this makes me tense and I can release it, but I don't feel like this is good to be around on a daily basis. In a coaching slash therapy session, which is what I find myself doing these days, a combination of both, just organically with this approach, now we have a real way to accurate data for navigating life. This person now knows it is not good to be around the layoffs, and it is not true that they have to wait to find a career path, but they want more control than they have. To them, in full reprocessing, more control is not staying because that puts them near the layoffs. It's the illusion of more control. A lot of people find this eye opening in interesting ways. For example, they decide they have to take control of something else entirely, like getting more movement or scheduling that dental work or writing that proposal for when they will start the new career path, but not now because I have to save money. The point is that it is a more embodied process and they feel whole, authentic, and fully present in their life. Most of us become unhealthy the same way every time, protective outputs instead of presence outputs. When we can use reprocessing tools and stop thinking our whole lives out, we enter a reprocessing healing phase so consistently that narratives and relationships also start to feel lighter, less challenging to navigate, and like you can be present with them. Lastly, I just want to say a note on holding space. Ever since I can remember, wherever I have had a space for myself, I have poured into making it my own in a very unique way. I needed to pour something into any space I was in because the space inside didn't feel great. Now I feel the memory, making things look nice aesthetically, but also something else was there driving me. Good balancing of style, cozy comfort, and somewhat of a bohemian throwback to a different time all symbolized safety. Emotional safety like the kind a child knows, arranging stuffed animals around their head to ward off monsters as they sleep. That's me. That's what I do. That's what feels important. And I don't always feel it because of my own trauma imprint, but I am creating a room for myself regardless. That is a tool. It's not one I own. This space is for sharing tools. We are all therapeutic spaces, regardless of the title I hold, trauma therapist. Thank you for holding space. Once again, if you are intrigued in a self guiding healing journey at your own pace in organized phases, you are not broken. University is open. Enter the phases of healing in a digestible way in modules and move forward to therapy and coaching or intensives if that feels right for you. Or hit the link for the author's website for books, events, and more. And please hit the heart button. Think of it as a copay for free therapy. Here's my heart back to you. Think of it as a fist bump for doing that. And I also want to say, now it's your turn. Share about whatever came up for you as you read, listened, or watched your mind process this. A few sentences can build a better connection to your experience, validate it, and help others. Drop them in the comments. And you know what? Check your phone. Who do you text the most? Please share this with them and heal on, everyone.